Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, family, to a Juneteenth special tonight of America in Black and White. Family, welcome back to America in Black and White. Today, we gather in the spirit of remembrance, resilience, and renewal because this episode is not just another conversation, it is a tribute to a moment that changed the soul of our people, Juneteenth. A day when freedom finally found its voice, a day when the last enslaved Black American in Galveston, Texas, heard the words that had been withheld from them for more than 2 years. You are free. Imagine that. Imagine the weight of generations lifting in a single breath. Imagine the tears, the trembling, the disbelief, the joy, all rising like a sunrise after centuries of night. Juneteenth is not just a historical marker, it is a mirror, a reminder of who we are, what we've endured, and how far we've come. It is the story of a people who refused to be broken even when the world tried to silence their humanity. Our ancestors didn't wait for permission to dream. They didn't wait for approval to build. They didn't wait for acceptance to rise. They took the fragments of what they were given and created families, communities, churches, business, movements, brick by brick, prayer by prayer, heartbeat by heartbeat. And now the responsibility resets with us. Juneteenth calls us to more than celebration, it calls us to unity, to purpose, to be the unfinished work of liberation. Because freedom is not a moment, freedom is not a mission we carry forward every time we uplift our youth, strengthen our communities, and stand together in truth. So today, as we honor the legacy of those who came before us, let us also honor the future we are building, a future rooted in unity, a future grounded in justice, a future shaped by the power of our collective voice. This is Juneteenth. This is our story. This is our moment to rise together. Welcome to America in Black and White. Let's begin and let's bring our guest in, Mr. Michael Coleman Jr. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you?
I am just excellent. How's everything going? And thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Everything is going really, really well.
So, if you don't, is there anything you'd like to say to our audience before we get into the show?
No, I'm just excited to be here. I'm ready to see what all comes of this conversation.
Well, I want to first and foremost, I want to say thank you to all of our guests that are here, all of our supporters that are here, for all the times that they are here, which is all the time, and I want to thank them. And I want to start off, Mike, where I like to have the audience get the opportunity to learn more about who you are
Absolutely.
before we get more in depth into your story.
Absolutely.
So, can you tell us what was life like growing up, and how did your early environment shape your sense of purpose?
Absolutely. So I grew up in Greenwood, Mississippi, which is about 10 to 15 minutes away from where the uh, scandal happened with Emmett Till. And so I grew up in a single parent household, single black mother. And so that created a lot of resilience just naturally, living in that space, continuing to live in spaces where um, African American people and Caucasian people are not in the same rooms all the time. Um, but also having that barrier of my mother's an educator. And
Mhm.
so having to do well and wanting to do well was always confused with one another. And so I think now that I've moved away, I'm able to create my story, rewrite my story, and build this name for myself. um, off my mother's strength, but off my work, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of how I got into higher education, wanting to see students do the same.
So, when did you first discover your passion for communication and leadership?
So it's always been there. I think I didn't really have a choice. My mother kind of chose it for me. Um, so over time, I was like, well, I'm either gonna hate this or fall in love with it. So let's try to fall in love with it. And I did. And so my mother, since I'll say about 2012, um, has always instilled in me community service, community engagement. We're gonna do this to make people's lives better. I had the type of parent who would, if she bought me Christmas gifts, I knew what I got for Christmas because she was busting open the gifts to give them to other people. If she knew students didn't have, or whatever the case was, she was always ready to give, 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 give. And so I think over time, I've kind of inherited that trait. Um, but I'll say the moment I think that took the hard pivot for me that kind of made me want to fall in love with it and then be the person who um, who is an advisor, mentor, role model, that type of thing. It was 2023, 2022. I ran to be the mister of my university. Did not win. And I didn't win. And it bothered me so because I was the person that did everything. I was in the choir. I was a cheerleader. I sung. I danced. I mean, I did everything in the name of the university. And so I thought I could win off that strength. And so when I didn't, I kind of lost myself for a second. And I had somebody, Dr. Thomas Calhoun, pull me to the side, and he was like, I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna have to fix that quickly." He gave me one of those stern HBCU talks, and here I am.
Well, I got a couple of hellos here in the chat. First, there's Dr. Neely. He says Amen, and that was I'm assuming to the opening.
Hello.
And there's another hi from I don't want to say your name wrong, but it looks like it says Raheem Cooley.
Okay.
And Dr. Carswell, he's saying there, he says, nothing like a mother's love and inspiration is true.
Absolutely.
And Dr. Carswell just said, excuse his manners, good evening to all.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
So, so can you tell us, how did Mississippi Valley State University influence your identity and direction?
Absolutely. Of course, I'm going to be biased when I say this, but I mean it with all my heart. I did attend the best HBCU known to mankind. Outside of the one I work at, outside of the one I work at. um, Valley was, and I'll tell anybody this, not just Valley, but I'll speak on HBCUs in general. I'm going to answer your question, but just in general. HBCUs, you get so much more than what you pay for, um, because there's so much rich history, there's so much legacy, there's so much knowledge, there's so much talent rooted in the foundation, but also infused in the experience. Um, Valley specifically, we were we were too big to be considered small. We were too small to be considered big. So we got a really good like mixed experience. There was a lot of us who were from Greenwood or from the area, from Mississippi, from the Delta, and there was a great deal of us who were from Texas, from out of the country, from Louisiana, from all over. Um, but one of the greatest things I got from Valley was I got that fight. Um, because if you're from Mississippi and if you went to a Mississippi HBCU, you understand there's a there's this unspoken hierarchy of HBCUs in Mississippi. So there's Valley, there's Kahoma, there's Jackson State and Alcorn. Um, and so the hierarchy in their delusional minds is that it's Jackson State, Alcorn, Valley. I don't believe that at all. But we always had to fight against that. We're the best. We're the best. We're the best. We're the best. Which we all do playfully, but that right there, I think, gave me that spunk. That it was like something extra. We didn't have the resources all the time. We had to go make it, go get it, go figure it out. And so now that I'm older into these professional spaces and I'm with students all the time, I have the bandwidth to do these things. And so I have my degrees right in our view every day. So anytime I'm like, this is difficult, this is hard, I look there, I got it. So yeah.
So, what personal values did your mother instill in you that still guide you today?
So before I answer, let me tell you this. I have a military mother. So we got up at 5 a.m. every single day from the time that I was a newborn up until I turned 16, 5 a.m. And so the number one thing that's been instilled in me is a routine. Um, so I have to keep a routine every day. Um, One thing she used to do all the time, I hated it back then, but I cherish it now. I would have to iron all my uniforms a week in advance. At the time, I didn't understand it, didn't know what was going on, didn't understand why I was doing that. Now, if I don't do it, my week is thrown off. It just helps me save some time, get some extra rest, that type of thing. Um, Honesty and transparency, and a lot of people get those two mixed up. Honesty and transparency, 100%, I get those. Um, Discipline, respect. Um, I also get this. Um, you'll never really got to know how I feel about you because I'll just tell you whether you want to hear it or not. Got that honest from her. Got that 100% honest from her. But I also got this really, really scary sense of hard work and dedication. I have it, but I have it on steroids, and it's because of her. Um, I've watched my mother work 3 jobs and go to school and be a single parent. And so when you see that, you kind of naturally take that on. And so I've kind of taken that and run with it.
Well, alluding to your HBCU experience, Dr. Carswell's left a comment here in the box. I'll put it on the screen. He
Okay,
says, I would not change anything in the world about attending Fort Valley State College.
I know that's
So much
right.
value added to students from an HBCU.
That is correct. That is correct.
And so, can you tell us, how did your friendship with Cabrillo shape your growth and resilience?
Absolutely. So I noticed Cabral for the first time in 2021 or two. I don't remember. I was in undergrad at Mississippi Valley and don't even really know how we got connected on social media. We just did. Um, and I remember going to my advisor at the time and I was like, this guy is amazing. I said, he's just so well put together and he has all these things, all these accolades. I said, and it's so scary because the way his life looks is how I kind of want my life to look. Um, at the time, I do remember he graduated from a small HBCU. He was the minister of his HBCU. He was a member of Phi Beta Sigma. Um, and he was just always, every time he posted something, he was working and moving and upgrading and elevating. And I was just like, this man is amazing. Who is this? I need to be friends with him. I need him to teach me all his ways and to learn from him. And so she was like, honest to God, she was on her computer, halfway paying me attention. She goes, okay, talk to him. And she goes back to her computer. And I'm like, I don't know if it's that simple. So I did. I reached out, asked him to mentor me. He said yes, of course. And now we become the best of friends. We talk. We can never just be on the phone for 10, 15 minutes. It always turns into a 2, 3 hour conversation. Um, and mainly because we're both in a space of trying to, once again, elevate. I just moved here to North Carolina. I'm trying to get my doctorate. He's getting his doctorate. He just opened his own business, 716 Soma Workforce Development Place. And so we're both always having these conversations about what we can do better or what we can do next. Like, I did this. What am I going to do next? How do I make it better than the last thing? And so then our conversations turn into podcasts, and it's hilarious, but I love it.
So, what role did writing and English play in your development as a communicator?
So didn't say this piece earlier, but I did attend and graduate from performing arts school in Mississippi, the Mississippi School of the Arts, where I was a literary artist. And so I have written plays, poems, lyrical essays, all types of things. You name it, I probably wrote it. I am a published author. Um, I don't highlight that as much, but I probably should. Um, the one thing that I did learn from my teacher then, her name was Clanisha Sibley, one of the best teachers I've ever had. Um, I've always had this really, really special niche with writing about emotion and feelings.
Mhm.
Um, and so I've always done that. All of my works have something to do with some type of relationship with another person, whether that's romantic, platonic, um, parent relationship, grandparent, any type of connection I've always had. And so I kind of let that flow over into my professional work. And so when I'm writing to people, I'm always like, I hope you're doing okay. If you need anything, reach out to me. I always try to make it really personable, um, just to kind of take the ease off. I think people respond a lot better when they can relate to you.
Mhm. So let me just follow up on that because I
Hmm.
didn't know that you were an author as well. So can
Yeah.
you tell us what made you write the book and why don't you publicize it so much that you are a published author?
So I have not written a book. I haven't made that far. My works are in other books,
Oh, okay, okay,
with other writers. Um,
okay. So you've done
yeah,
collaborations.
I've done collaborations. Absolutely, yes. I don't publicize it because it's not something I'm doing now, and it's not something I don't think I'm going to get into anytime soon. Every time I speak with Miss Sylvia, she's like, "Have you started back writing yet?" And I'm like, "No." Um, and it's because I just have a lot of other moving pieces going on right now. When I write, it is something that takes all of my energy. It takes all of my brain power, and so I'm not in a place where I'm ready to do that right now. I think once I get past this doctorate, because I think I might want one or two more degrees after that. Once I get past all the schooling and I get past, because right now I feel like I'm in my grind season of my professional career. Once I can kind of relax a little bit, I may revisit, just not right now.
Wow. Okay. So, but in that, let's see, you was mentioning also not just about being an author, but also, you said something about, well, I'll probably think about it, come back to it because
Okay.
it was on my mind in the beginning.
Okay.
But what moment made you realize you wanted to work in higher education?
Um, if so, I'll be transparent with you. I never had a moment where I said I wanted to work in higher ed. It never ever happened to me. When I was about to graduate, I was offered a job to be a teacher at a high school, to be an English teacher,
Mhm.
and I was going to take it. I had every intention on going straight to K-12. I just wanted to work with high schoolers because at the time I just got done cheering. I wanted to be a cheer coach, all these things. And I said, well, high school is perfect. They get the breaks. Um, all I have to do is take one test and get my license. I'll be good. I can do that. It's easy. Cool. And then I started, didn't realize I had subconsciously been working in admissions my entire time in undergrad. And so a position became available to be an admissions counselor. And so I said, well, okay, I get to travel. I can get my master's for free. Sure, I'll do that. And then I go to the classroom. Um, I started doing it, fell in love with it. So I did that for about 2.5 years, maybe. Um, and then I said, okay, I like admissions and enrollment. It's cool, but I see what student affairs is doing. I'm really, really, really liking it. So I want to go over to student affairs. And so that's how I ended up at Morris College. Um, and then I ended up here. So I think I'm in student affairs, and I love student affairs. Love, 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 love. So I don't think I'm going anywhere anytime soon.
So, what's the love and the passion about student affairs that's so close to you?
Um, I get to see and mentor. I feel like a whole bunch of versions of younger me. So in student affairs, my first position was student activities. So I did all the fun things. Um, and even now, I work with orientation, first year experience, all these things. I get to see these students who have a plan or don't have a plan, um, come into this space and say, listen, I want to add on top of school, on top of work, on top of whatever I got going on at home. I want to add this because it means something to me. That was my exact mindset in undergrad. And so being able to see that, but also me being so young, I can still connect with them. Like, hey, listen, if there's a mistake or something going, hey, listen, I understand exactly what you feel. I understand how you feel. I get it. But this is how you navigate that emotion, or this is how you work through this hard time. Whatever the case is, I'm able to do that, um, and I'm able to do so in a way where I can see my work flourish in another person and see them succeed. And that's all I ever want for my students, all of them, every last one of
Well, I have another two comments here in the
them.
chat from Dr. Carswell, and you're more than welcome to to respond to these. I'll
Okay.
put it on the screen. He says leveraging emotional intelligence in building relationships is a necessary tool for having a productive, stress-free life.
Absolutely.
And then he says, "Thanks for sharing."
I don't know if my life is stress free. I think my life is very, very far from stress free, but I have the rest of it.
So, how did your graduate studies in convergent media expand your professional vision?
So I discovered this love for social media management in 2020. When I started at Mississippi Valley, I said, well, I need to start figuring out something that I, may want to get into, may want to do. And so the thing was I managed Valley's social media, well, the admissions page. I managed that for a few years. And so when I graduated, I said, well, I need to figure out what I'm going to get my master's in. I have no clue. Valley is the only school outside of the University of Arizona, I believe, or Phoenix or something like that, that has a convergent media program. And anybody that knows me knows that for some reason I like to put myself in situations where it's very unique. I don't want to be in anything that stereotypical. None, I don't want any of that. I didn't want an MBA. I didn't want anything that everybody else had. I wanted something that was way, way different. That was totally different. So I ended up going back to Valley to get that degree. And so now I'm managing the Mississippi American Legion Boys State page. I'm managing a few pages for Elizabeth City State for the SEAL office. Um, I just started those though, so I haven't really gotten super acclimated to those. I'm managing one of the pages for my sorority, Gamma Sigma Sigma National Service Sorority. And I'm also managing two pages for myself, one personal and one professional. And so that has 100% helped me out a lot, taught me a lot of skills. Um, and so I'm very thankful for the communications department at Mississippi Valley for all they've done.
So, what does the Mississippi Delta mean to you now as an adult?
I wish I could put it into words. And I talk about it all the time, especially when people are asking me where I'm from. Um, I think the one word that I get or that I think about when I think about the Delta is peace. I will say we do have a pretty high crime rate. We got a lot going on. I understand all those things, but when I go home, really home, my mother's home, there is unspeakable peace. Seeing people that um, contributed to um, my upbringing, people who contributed to me educationally, personally, having your mama's homegirls, it's your auntie, but it's not your auntie. You stayed over the weekend, and me and their kids grew up together. All these different things. Is the peace? The food is amazing. Nobody can cook like we do in Mississippi. The music is outright insane, the best in the world. I blast it all over the place. But there's just a sense of peace.
I'm from right next door. I was born and raised in Mobile.
Okay, yeah, there you, yeah, uh huh. You understand?
So I can tell you, the history that comes from
Absolutely.
the Delta is the thing that sparks most to me.
Hmm.
And if you can tell us, I mean, like in learning about the blues musicians that came from the
Hmm.
Delta and the standards that they set in the music industry, did
Absolutely.
that have any influence or impact on you at all?
Absolutely. I think the number one impact that it had is that my ear is different. I can always tell when somebody has um, taken a bite out of blues or taken a bite out of soul with their music. It literally happened today. I was listening to a song and I said, "Oh, that chord was real churchy. Somebody been listening to us in the South." I can always tell. Even when people singing, some of the choices that they make, I'm like, yeah, you're supposed to be country, but you listening to us in the Delta. I can tell it was real Delta like. Um, but even just in my everyday walk of life, I think that the way that we're raised in the Delta is really special. We stick together no matter what. Sometimes when I'm scrolling on like TikTok or something like that, somebody will make a post like if you're from the Delta, come in the comments, and when you go in the comments, it's like one big family. We all know each other or recognize somebody or whatever's going on, and I absolutely love it. And it gives me a sense of home away from home when I see that. And I can go in the comments and put my 662, and everybody is that's on the 662 is egging it on. So I'm always excited about that.
That's what's up. So, how do you define success at this stage of your life?
That's an interesting question because I'm one of those people. I'm so hard on myself, so hard on myself. I'm always if I sit in something too long, I'm like, okay, I need to figure out something else to do. I ain't did nothing great in a while. Let me figure something out. Um, Success for me right now is I'm a 24-year-old man who grew up in a single parent household who has taken the necessary steps to be educated, to be in a position professionally that a lot of people don't make it to this early. Um, I'm in a position where I am advising people who are about my same age. Um, I don't want to use the word comfortable, but I know the perfect word. I'm blessed. That's success. I'm blessed.
I got to tell you, to see a young man like yourself
Mhm.
that's more than found his path, and you're walking that path, and you're
Absolutely.
delivering in that path. I mean, that's success in itself.
Absolutely.
When you think about it, and as I see, from the lens that I'm looking through, you
Hmm.
know, um, you're already successful. You're just getting better.
Absolutely. There
And
you go. I like.
so as you're getting better,
Mhm.
what are some of the things that you think about, when you represent where you come from, that is the Delta of Mississippi,
Mhm.
and you've already had these wonderful accomplishments that you got right now, but
Mhm.
you want to add to them. What gives you that drive?
Um, a couple of factors play into this. Number one, I don't want to let my family is very small. So my immediate family is three of us: me, my mother, my grandmother. Immediate family, that's all I got. And so I will not let them down. That's number one. Number two, um, I serve a God that's been more than faithful to my family and I. And I understand that He gives us, free will to do certain things. I'm not perfect by a long shot. I make a crap load of mistakes, all these different things. Um, but every time I wake up, I understand there's another chance to get it right. There's another chance to make something better. There's another chance to do all these things. And so anytime I'm walking, I always tell any person that I'm mentoring or talking to or hanging around, whatever, and they're giving me all these things, hey, thank God. I'm always thinking every single day, every day. I have to. It's mandatory. Um, and in the last group of people that I will say, and it's not the least important group of people, but there's not a lot of young gay black men that are doing the things that I'm doing. And for
Mhm.
those who are aspiring to walk the same path that I'm walking, like going to college, working in higher, ed, doing these things, everybody's not, and I'm not throwing shade to anybody who does it, but everybody doesn't want to be on baddies or bad boys, and all. That's just everybody doesn't want to do that. Some people genuinely want to live a life where I have degrees, I have people who look up to me, I have people who are looking forward to seeing me every day. Um, I do it for those people too, and I've had some people walk up to me and just be like, "Hey, we've never talked before, but I'm watching you all the time," and it always amazes me because sometimes I'm in my head like I don't know if I'm doing this in vain, if nobody's paying attention, I don't understand what's going on. And it's never the case, ever the case. And so I'm learning that as I get older.
Well, you know what? You represent well, and I'm sure
Thank
you're
you.
going to keep on representing because
Absolutely.
you're
Absolutely.
setting the standard that we all need to have people, just people in general,
Absolutely.
to actually get these ethics and to do these things that you're doing because
Hmm.
that's what it's about right now. You are definitely a future leader of the world.
I appreciate that.
Let's move over to your work as an enrollment manager and recruitment.
Hmm.
What did you learn about students while working as an admissions counselor at Mississippi Valley State University?
Um, I learned that students are special.
Hmm.
Students are, and I hope if any students are watching, don't take this the wrong way. Students are big babies. That's not They are big old babies. Um, During that time, there was so many students who just needed somebody to cling on to. And so, as an admissions counselor, you kind of become that person. I was buying lunches for students. I was taking pizza and cupcakes to people and um, buying them swag and doing all these other things, which I don't regret any of it. I'll do it all over again. But I just learned, and the number one question I always got was, if I come to Valley, what do I get out of it? And I learned then, just as babies are needy, so are these students. They're in need of space, they're in need of freedom, they're in need of creativity, they're in need of love, they're in need of grace. Um, all these different factors go into how we recruit and if we recruit the students. And so that's my biggest takeaway.
So, how did you contribute to the 17.2% enrollment increase?
Um, I told them in my interview, I said, I need Valley to get in rooms that we don't usually go in. Um, I want to talk to that person who feels like they're too old to go back to school. That's what I want to talk to. It's standard that we talk to those who are graduating high school. That's a given. I want to go to the performing arts schools. I want to go to the math and science school. I want to go to um, the school for the deaf and blind. I can't speak sign language. I can't read braille, none of it. But put me in a room with the people that can, and let me see if I can talk to. I don't know. Let's figure that part out, and that's exactly what I did. Um, I know we went to maybe two or three performing arts schools that year. Um, but that's what I wanted, not only just for my university, but for myself. I wanted to say I did something that was a little bit different than what we were used to been, what we had already been doing. So I made sure to do that.
Sounds like you're one of those young men that like the challenge,
I
and
do. I do.
it's like you thrive in the challenge.
I do. I always listen. My mom will tell you, and her and my grandmother, they always laugh at me for I make stuff so much harder than it have to be because I just want to see if I can get to the other side, and every time I get to the other side, so
Uh-huh.
I like it.
What strategies were most effective in connecting with the prospective students?
Um, I can tell you now because I don't work there anymore. I never did that traditional presentation. Never did it. Never pulled it up. I did now at Ole Miss. I did because I had to, but Valley never did it. I walked in. I would sit at a desk or sit on top of the desk or something and just have a conversation. Just talk to them. Talk to them as if we were classmates, as if we were cousins, as if I was a big brother, whatever. And I remember sometimes the students would kind of get in trouble for the stuff they would ask, and I would have to go back and say, no, leave them alone. These are questions that they genuinely have, and none of us want to answer these questions. They want to know about what is it really like to be in a sport in college? What is that really like? Yeah, we always say you're gonna be it's long nights and da da da. No, tell them the real of what it is. If you are playing a sport at a HBCU, you're not gonna have the resources. You're not gonna have a life outside of this sport. Your life is gonna be school, work, sport, school, work, sport, unless you don't work. And then you got school, sport, school, sport, school, sport. That's all it is. Let's have that conversation. I want you to know exactly what you're putting yourself into. I want you to know exactly what you're signing up for. I want you to have any gray, black, nope, nothing. Black and white. That's all you got. And it always worked because I was always very honest and transparent with them. But I always made sure they understood that going to an HBCU, that may be your life, but everybody around you is supporting you in that because we all understand it. We all are either living that life or lived that life. So we get it. You're not alone. You're not by yourself. Um, and I also was very intentional about, now this is one thing they hated when I did it, but I would always take students with me, students who were in college, um, to share experiences. Like, I'm missing class to be here to talk to you, but this is how important it is for you to come to my school. Or I don't play a sport or anything, but I'm an entrepreneur, and this is how I handle my business and going to school. Because one thing I will say, these new students are really into building their own businesses. And so I want to bring somebody who has a business. Um, so those are the things that I did. Some of them.
So, what was unique about recruiting in the Delta?
I understood them. I think that where a lot of places fall short is that we bring people into spaces that they don't understand. You have to talk to kids in the Delta a little different. They understand things a little different. Um, a lot of their parents and grandparents maybe never went to college, which is the story for a lot of people, but it's just different in the Delta. It's totally different. Um, there were a lot of them. Well, I'm from so and so. Da da da. I know exactly where you're from. I used to walk them same streets. I get it. I'm not hood, but I walk them same streets. My cousins are over there. You know so and so, so and so. Yeah, I know that. Yep, that's my cousin. I know all them people. Now we have a connection, and I can talk to you the way I need to talk to you to get through to you what I need. Um, and so I think that was part of why I was always so successful in what I did in the Delta because I understood it. I lived around the corner. I got it. I get it.
How did your role at University of Mississippi differ from your work at Mississippi Valley State?
Um, the biggest challenge was the type of students I dealt with. So working at a HBCU, of course, we catered a little bit more to the African American students. Um, Working at a PWI, I don't want to say we catered more to the non-African American students, but I will say that there was a different experience. It was just a very different experience. Um, it was a lot more challenging for me um, because although those non-African American students were in the Delta, this kind of trickled back to the conversation we had at first. Black and white people not being in the same spaces.
Mhm.
Greenwood is separated by a railroad. There's a train track that goes straight down the middle. All the black people live on one side, white people live on the other side. So having to go on that side, yeah, you from the Delta, but I cannot connect with you on any level. I know nothing about your experience. I don't know what you all do over here. So all I really can do is give you the information. But what helped was that because it was Ole Miss, their parents and grandparents and great grandparents and great great grandparents went to Ole Miss. They donate money to the school, all these things. So I had that to lean on. Whereas when I got back on my side of the tracks, I had to fight against, is Ole Miss racist? Are they prejudiced? Do they really want me to come over there? How are they going to accept me and my speech impediment, or me being first gen, and me doing this, and that? And Ole Miss had the resources. Um, but that was always a challenge. The conversation just was totally different, and it had to be different with everybody. That was a challenge, but I made it to the other side.
Mm. So tell us about the environment in Oxford. I mean, was it something that was very, very comforting to you, or did it take you a while to cozy up to what the environment was like?
So I didn't live in Oxford. We worked remotely. We worked from home, so I was able
Oh,
to live in the Delta and recruit out of the Delta.
oh,
Um,
okay.
I did have to visit quite often. What I will say is that it took me a minute to get acclimated to Oxford. It always does. And I go back every year for the Boys State program, but every year it takes me a day or two to get acclimated to Oxford. Um, but like I said, Oxford's a predominantly white town, and that's just not it's not my experience, it's not my life. And so I am one of those people. I get really uncomfortable around a lot of people who don't look like me. And so it takes me a second to kind of say it's okay, you're good, it's fine. But that's just the truth. I'm from the Delta, and we have a certain experience with people who don't look like us, and sometimes it makes us, a little more frightful. It gives us a little more anxiety, but I always end up on the other side.
So, what contributed to the 12% enrollment increase during your time there?
Um, like I said, those different conversations. I think that the one piece of leverage I had with African American students was that my mother works in K-12, and she works in one of the school districts there, and so I had an upper hand that a lot of other recruiters just didn't have. Um, and so that relationship really did a lot for me. Um, Even with the private schools and things, like I said, the only thing I really had to lean on was the legacy and traditions of their families. And so I think that my piece was always making sure that my people were okay and taken care of. And they always gave me great reviews. So I was okay.
So, what makes a strong recruiter in today's higher education landscape?
Um, so, and I know people are still talking about it. It's a conversation we're kind of tired of having, but the COVID kids are now the ones who are going through college.
Who?
And
The
so
COVID kids?
it's the COVID kids. So 2020, if you were in like middle school around that time, this is a they missed all of the learning how to communicate, conflict resolution. They missed all of that. All that is gone. It's wiped away from them. And so they should be graduating, going into college right about now. That's this class. Um, it's so hard, and I really don't know how to answer that question because it's so hard. Because all of us, we got that, and so having to communicate with somebody who doesn't have half of those life skills that you have, but they're so intelligent. That's what makes it so difficult. They don't have the life skills. They want to be alone. They don't want to talk. Phones on do not disturb. Not checking emails. That's just their culture. That's them. They didn't have to. They never had to. They just turned their stuff in, got their grades, moved on. But they're so intelligent. They all want to start their own businesses. I have seen some students in the past year or so. Um, there was one. He was in the Delta. Can't remember what school he was at. He had a whole clothing line, and not like a print. Nothing. I'm talking about good quality. He had the bedazzles and the designs and the whole. I mean, it was a whole thing. He had a whole setup. He was like, "Yeah, I got some shipments coming in," and he had not graduated yet. And I'm like, these kids are insanely intelligent. How at 16, 17-year old, how are you funding that? How are you keeping up with that and doing that in school? Like it's so many things. And so I don't know how anybody's going to recruit him because in his mind, he knows what to do. So it's difficult. It's very difficult. Very difficult.
So, how do you build trust with the students and families during the recruitment process?
Listen, I tell all the kids call me uncle or something. I do not like to be, and even when I got here, I told my supervisor, I said, I don't want them to call me Mr. Coleman. I hate that. I feel like when you put that barrier there, until you establish the relationship, when you put that barrier there, it leaves up this wall or something. I don't like it. I don't even put the wall there. When I'm gonna come sit down with you, what y'all over here doing? I mean, I'm professional, but it's a relaxed professional. Um, if they want to eat, let's go eat. I like wings, same way you do. And I also think I do a very good job of letting people know that I'm human as well. I have a life outside of work. I don't want them to think I'm just. I tell them if you email me at a certain time, you don't get a response to the next morning. And it's not me being rude or anything. It's just me telling you, hey, listen, you outside, I'm outside too. But in order for me to go outside and pay for outside, I need you to come to school. And now people are laughing, and I got their attention. So
Is that a method that you use?
it is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. You got to talk in their language. You got to talk where they can understand.
So, what misconceptions do people have about enrollment management?
I don't know. It's all true. It's a lot of eyes. There's a lot of expectations. There's a lot of data. Um, there's a listen. I had to get out of it. It really is draining. In all honesty, I shout out to anybody working in enrollment management at HBCU, PWI, ABC, EFG, whatever you're working in. If you're doing enrollment management, my hat goes off to you. Um, Especially for private institutions, because everything falls on enrollment management, institutional funds, retention, everything falls on you. So I take my hats off to you all. But it's all true. There's a million eyes. There's a lot of data. You got to remember all this data. Depending on the school you got to remember your data and everybody else's data around you because that depicts how hard you got to go at that fair. Um, you gotta be able to read other recruiters and their tactics and figure out how you're going to shape yours to counterpart theirs. It's a lot going on. It's a lot.
So, how did these early roles prepare you for student affairs?
Um, Honestly, they didn't. Student affairs and enrollment management are so far fetched away from each other. I think that the one thing we have in common is retention. But outside of that, it's more of a pipeline. Enrollment management's job is to get them here. Student affairs job is to keep them here. So
Mhm.
our experience is a little bit different. I think that me working in enrollment management, I was able to watch student affairs and see how they operated, and kind of take notes for when it was my turn. And that's kind of how that played out for me. But essentially, when you work in enrollment management, you have to have a ton of vision. You know, all you can really do is watch everybody else, kind of, in your free time. But for the most part, you got to be locked into what you're doing. Otherwise, you will not be successful.
So, let's talk about your work as director of student experience.
Okay.
What does your role at Elizabeth City State University entail?
So here, I um I I oversee all things first year experience. And so in my role, I do orientation. I advise the freshman class. I have an orientation group, the Viking Voyage Leaders. I absolutely, positively love and adore all of them. They are so amazing. Um, but I also support the Student Engagement Leadership Office in whichever way they need me to. And so my executive director, Monica Miller, she is, when I tell you, a a machine. This woman does everything in student engagement leadership. And so now that I'm here, I can support her in all the ways that I need to. But my job specifically, I work a lot with orientation and also campus activity board. So planning welcome week, planning um, winter homecoming, planning family and friends day for the fall. Um, there's another week, biking fest. Um, all the things dealing with the student experience and that directly supports retention, it's all me.
Okay. So, how do you define student experience in a modern campus environment?
In a what campus environment?
Modern
Modern.
campus.
The students have an expectation of you that you have to live up to. Um, the students here, the experience that they're getting, they're used to it being a certain way, and I feel like this is going to be more of a challenge than my last place. But the last place I got to build it from the ground up, just build it whatever I wanted it to look like. Here, I'm not building anything. I'm having to continue on with what they already have, and so having to stay afloat of the cool things. Um, I think I'm starting to get to that age where the stuff that we deemed as fun and cool and funny, they don't think it's fun and cool and funny. So I have to kind of be listening and paying attention so that I don't have an event talking about something on fleek and they don't understand what I'm saying because there was more my time. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting, but I like it because they're keeping me useful. I get up every day and go running and stuff because I walking up and down these stairs and keeping up with the Viking boys leaders is tough because they can move. So it's keeping me useful.
So you're not feeling old, are you?
Listen, I say wise. I feel wise. I feel because listen, listen, listen.
Uh, what initiatives have you implemented to strengthen the student belonging?
So I've only been here 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So I haven't gotten to the meat of what's going on. So right now we're in the middle of orientations, and so when I got here, I had to kind of hit the ground running with orientation. And so once we die down with all the orientations, I can kind of get off into the school year and figure out what we're going to do. I'm gonna have some ideas though. I'm not going to share them because I don't know who's watching. I don't want anybody to steal all my stuff. But me and my supervisor have been talking, and we have some. We got about 3 or 4 events that we're going to plan out and try to execute this year. I think they're going to be really good. Um, so I got some things in the works. So we'll see how this goes.
So, how do you collaborate with faculty and staff to support student success?
Number one is building relationships. Um, there are a lot of people here on campus. When I see them, I mean, talk to them like I've been knowing them for 20 years. Just meeting these people a week or two ago. Um, and I think once you build those relationships, and these are people like we're gonna have lunch. We can sit and just talk about the things that we feel, professional or personal, whatever. Once we build those relationships, I know that I can call on them, they can call on me, and we also play on our strengths with each other. Um, for example, I have some students who are dealing with some things. Um, Ask counseling services to come over. My experience with the director there. So I'm from the deep south, like you know. So we real big on that sweetie, honey, sweetheart, baby. That's just how we talk. Like, hey, baby, how you doing? This is how we talk to each other. And she saw me. She said, I don't mean any harm, but I hate when people do that to me. Can you call me by my name? I said, well, what is your name? Because I don't remember. Because I'm not good with names. She told me. Every time we see each other, we laugh about it now. Um, and for me, it's great because not only do we have that memory, I remember your name, and you remember that that's that young boy that called me baby, sweetie, honey, yada yada. And I'm probably half her age. Um, but when we called on her, asked her to come, she came, no problem. Great presentation, helped them work through some things, um, and so just stuff like that.
So, as you're moving around now and you're finding your grounding,
Hmm.
for where you are now, when you look at the campus and you
Hmm.
just think about what you're going to be implementing and doing,
Hmm.
how do you see the campus experience going for you and the things that you have set forth that you want to put into the campus? How do you see that going?
Give me the last piece one more time. When I look at the campus,
Yes, when you look at the overall campus, now that you're there and you're getting your ground, you
mhm,
get your feet on solid ground.
absolutely.
And so as you look, at the campus and the campus experience itself,
Hmm.
how are you feeling about what that's going to be like for you as you're moving through this new experience? What do you see?
Um, I see this being a place where I'm going to grow and learn, but a place where I'm going to have fun.
Mm.
Um, and I'll say that is a hard find these days. A lot of people are going to work and they're not enjoying, they're not having fun. Um, and yes, I love my coworkers, I love my supervisor, all of them, but the students are hands down the best part. Not only do they support the things that I'm trying to do, um, but they're playing into it. They are helping build it. They're giving ideas. They're giving me their raw, honest opinions about these things. And I think they're excited. And so seeing them excited is gonna make me feel a whole lot better. And so, like I said, just grow and have fun and learn a lot from a lot of different people.
So, what does an inclusive campus culture look like to you?
Um, I'm going to reference my favorite person in the whole world, Miss Nina Simone.
Okay.
Um, and the reference I'm going to give is um, freedom. Of course, we got rules and regulations. We can't forget the rules and regulations, but freedom. Freedom for students to be as inquisitive, intuitive, creative, um, inspired as they want to be. Um, and like she said, being free is having no fear. I don't want students to ever have a fear about coming into student engagement and leadership, talking to us, seeking advice, seeking leadership, seeking mentorship, seeking a conversation. Anything. I want students to know that when they visit this office, um, it is free.
Mhm. So, how do you approach crisis moments or student concerns?
Um, I handle it in the same way you kind of do with babies. You just got listen. It's okay, but now I'll give you this. I'll say a good mix between how you handle babies and then how you handle a grown up who needs to understand that things are not working for you. Um, I love to sit people down and say, okay, I'm going to give you the space to feel how you feel, say what you got to say, get it off your chest. And then I want you to come to the realization that this is the circumstance, this is the situation. How do we move forward? What do we do next? Um, and what I have learned is that when you teach that theory to people, that's how they begin to move in life. And that's how we don't age so fast.
Hmm.
You got to just say, this is the circumstance. I'm going to accept it. Let's figure out what's next. How do we move forward? Do we need to take a step back? Do we need to take a step forward? Do we need to just stay where we are, sit in this moment for a minute? Whatever we got to do.
So, so as you look and as you're doing this episode today, and you're looking into this camera,
Hmm.
tell your students what are they going to get from you, and what can they expect.
Um, if any of my students are watching, what you can get, okay, only my Elizabeth City students gonna get this. You're going to get all of this celebrity. I have this joke with them that I'm a celebrity and I'm helping them out, and uh, they're all my little proteges or whatever. Um, all my time, all of my love, all of my wisdom, all of these lessons I've learned, all the things I know. If I don't know, I'm going to find the answer so I can give it to you. Um, they know, a couple of them know if you call me, I'm answering. If you need me, I'm coming. Um, they know these things. I think they know. My students at my last school would know 100%. They always knew you're going to get transparency from me. One thing I don't like is when we have to keep things from students. I hate that. If we're building professionals, if we're building people who have to go into this world, we have to set the standard of how they should expect their interactions to go with other people. I'm always 100% going to tell you the truth. Um, so that's what they can expect from me.
So, what is the biggest challenge facing student engagement today?
Um, you know what it is? Realistically, it's the entertainment business.
Tell us about that.
There's no sense of reality. Um,
Oh, okay.
Students want go yard bags and they want to spin that, and um they want us to get Queen Latifah and Jasmine Sullivan and Cardi B for homecoming, and not understanding that we are a business that runs on funds, and those funds do run out, and there is no replenishing until the next fiscal year. Um, we have students who want to make $1 million a year, but they don't want to do anything for it. And then you have those who want to work hard for it. And so creating meaningful and impactful experiences for them is a little tough, but I think that Elizabeth City does a great job with doing it.
How do you communicate? How do you use communication strategy to enhance campus life?
So I'm very excited to answer this. So for anybody watching, please listen. Um, right now, the Viking Voice leaders and myself are working to strengthen their presence on social media a little bit. So we have some videos coming, some good ideas working up. So right now we're making our way over to TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, go follow ECSU_VVL. And go like our first video. We did a Family Matters video. Um, and so I actually just recently saw a problem come up that I saw on social media somewhere. And so I'm in the process of working to figure out how to work out the kinks of that problem. Nothing that they did wrong. There's just a certain experience people are wanting to have. And I'm going to try to see how we can get the VBLs and Campus Activity Board to cater to that a little bit, kind of smooth it over.
What excites you most about your work at ECSU?
Right now, every little thing about it. Um, I cannot stress this enough. I love my executive director so much. She is like the most amazing person. Um, she is very hardworking. But one thing I love about this office, let me shout out Dr. Thomas too, 'cause I'm gonna get jealous. I love her supervisor too. Dr. Thomas, he's our associate vice chancellor for student affairs, and chief executive officer or something like that. Um, in this office, we work so hard, but we have so much fun doing it. Um, we get to be as creative as we want to be. Um, I look forward to coming into my office every day. I look forward to yelling Miss Miller's name outside the office, asking her a million questions until I get everything under wraps. I look forward to the students coming in here being loud and running all up and through my office and taking all my snacks and stuff. I look forward to all those things. Um, as long as you have that type of space, you know you're doing something right.
Okay. What is your long-term vision for student experience leadership?
Um, Long term, I want to build students who want to make that a profession as well. Um, I want to eventually have students who say, "I want to do what you're doing because I like that." I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still trying to figure that part out. Right now, I'm just like, okay, what do you want to do? Let me help you get there. But I eventually want to, and I think that's the recruiter side of my brain kind of clocking in a little bit. I want people who want to go work in student affairs because I know if I had anything to do with it, I trust that you'll be a great student affairs practitioner.
Mm. Let's talk a little bit about your work in community engagement and service.
Hmm.
Why is community engagement essential to student development?
Um, because we got to know that this life is not just about us. Um, all of our days and hours and minutes and seconds on this earth should not just be me, 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 me. Um, for a number of reasons, but the main reason being that everybody's not allowed at the same experiences that we are. Um, everybody's not afforded those same opportunities that we have, and so because they aren't, we have got to give back. Um, we've got to put them in rooms that we find to be normal. We have to put them in those rooms, give those people those same experiences. And so I'm always doing something. Always.
So I want you to take us back to your work with the Mississippi American Legion Boys State. How
hmm
did that shape your leadership?
Um, Boy State is. I love Boy State almost like I love my mom a little bit. So I went to Boy State in 2019. 2020 session got canceled because of COVID, of course. But in 2019, I learned so much, so much, so much about myself. I think that was one of those pivotal moments for me, um, becoming a young man. So when 2021 came around, I got invited back to be a city advisor. Then 22, I got invited back to be a county advisor. Then 23, another county advisor. 24, I made it to senior staff, which is every young man's dream that goes to Boy State. And so the biggest thing I've learned from Boy State so far is that being a leader or being a manager in a space, you don't always have to ask for permission. Sometimes, if you see a problem, fix the problem. If you see something can be better, make it better. Just jump into action. Um, but it's also taught me that I can be friends with, I can hang out with people who have different viewpoints than I do, people who have different experiences than I do. And so that's been the greatest reward. I have met some lifelong friends, people I consider brothers from that program.
So, what does service mean to you personally? And I ask you that because it seems like, the work that you do, especially when it comes to the community engagement part,
hmm
that is, it's like it's really, really personal to you in what happens and what transpires. So, what does service mean to you personally?
Um, I'm a Christian man.
Okay.
I just don't believe that the Lord is going to bless me with anything more if I'm not being of service to somebody else. Um, and service is not always monetary. It's not always anything that requires me giving up something so simple like my time. Um, one of my Cabrillo actually, he has this joke that I love service too much. And I'm in three organizations, so my service hours, I don't even keep up with them anymore, to be honest with you. So I am a Fall 2021 Initiative Chief Fire Incorporated, which I see one of my line sisters in the comments. Shout out to you, Essence, if she's still watching. Um, and shout out to the 15 Cohesive Charms. I love y'all forever. And so that transpired over into I became one of the coaches for the LaFleur County High School cheer team. Um, Also for Morris College's cheer team for a short period of time. And I also, for a while, maybe about a year or two, I did a lot of cheer camps around the Delta. Never charged for them. If you just want a better team, here I come. Um, if you need a judge for whatever, here I come. But this was always my thing. After I judge, I never want to be that judge that wants to come judge and then leave. This is what you did bad. This is what you did good. Bye. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I want to come judge, pick the team, and I'm gonna say, okay, when can I come back? Because I want to help y'all get to wherever you're trying to get to. Um, I'm also a Spring 25 initiate of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Go mob to my brothers. Um, and shout out to my line brother Gerald Smith. Um, with Sigma, my love for the Divine Nine came from my mother because she's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Shout out to my aunties. And so from 2012 up until now, she's instilled in me what service looked like, what that education piece looked like, what scholarship looked like. Um, and so I serve as the director of Bigger and Better Business. And so my role in the chapter is to make sure that we are continuing to support Black businesses, that we are promoting Black businesses and all the things. And I also am a member of Gamma Sigma Sigma National Service Sorority Incorporated, where I'm the friendship chair. And so my role in that organization is to make sure that we are all friends and that we stay nice to each other and that we hang out a lot and all these things. So we actually have like 2 events coming up. So I'm really excited about that. So shout out to the prime material of the White Rose, my 3 sisters, Ebony, Tasha, and Aisha. Love y'all forever. So that's why my friend said I love service too much. I'm in everything and I do everything with all 3 of them. I'm very active in all 3 of them. So
Okay. Okay. Well, actually, you must got a premonition because that was my next question to ask you about these roles. But
mhm.
you missed one. You missed Cheerfy Influence. So tell us about your roles with Cheerfy.
No, that was the first one. When I said the
Oh,
Fierce and Convincing Charm Shift I Incorporated, when I
oh,
talk
okay.
about me going to judge and all these things, I go judge and I'm going back to do a summer camp 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days if I need to.
So, what does mentorship look like in your life?
Um, I have I have a number of mentors. I mean a number of them. Some of them are even my friends and they don't even realize they mentor me all the time. Someone shout out someone, I don't know if they're in here. Some of them said they were gonna be watching. I hope they are. Um, my mother, number one, 1000%. My grandmother, Willie Riley, love her with all my heart and soul. Um, she has she has shown me the meaning of being assertive, but also being sweet, um, and also being a person who is God fearing 1000%. My mother, Dr. Lakeisha Coleman, has instilled in me the importance of education and perseverance and transparency, honesty, routine, discipline, communication, um, being a man of integrity, all those things. Shout out to Cabral McCahan, who's my frat brother. Again, love him to death. He has been somebody who can. We have this range of each other. He's the only person who I let read me, and I don't give him any lip back, and vice versa. He can read me down, and I just say, okay, you might be right because he knows me. Um, my friend Brandon Willis, love him. He's also another person who um, so young, so accomplished, and he loves to go against the odds and come out on top. Love him to death. He has endured a lot, and he's always walked with grace and respect and professionalism, and all the things. Dr. Aquanetta Parrott, she has, my God, my I don't know if I would be the practitioner I was without her. She's that one I call when I have a hard day. I'm like, Parrot, I need to talk. She's like, what's up? I give it to her. She gives me everything I need to hear. Um, my brother, Jameis Brown, love him to death. He is my shoulder to cry on, my diary. He knows if I pass away, he knows exactly what to do. He's that one. So, and I have a lot of other people too. Lively Anderson, Elena Wilson. I mean, I could go on and on. I really have a lot of people in my life who are very supportive, um, loving. And I do talk to these people almost every day. So, um, yeah.
So, how do you encourage students to become community mind leaders?
Um, I encourage students to find something that doesn't feel like service, something that doesn't feel like an extra job. Find something that you enjoy doing. Um, for example, I love kids. I just donated some snacks to a vacation Bible school to a church here. Um, I love kids. I love vacation Bible school. I went to vacation Bible school. To me, yeah, it counts as community service, but I just want the kids to be happy. They got to have a snack at vacation Bible school. Just find some things that feel natural to you.
Mm.
Think about some things you did when you were a kid. Who was that one person you remember? What did they do? Now you go be that person for another kid. Um, this easy things like that.
So, What is one community initiative that deeply impacted you?
Um, Jesus, I gotta think about some. Done a crap load. I'll give you one. Favorite one so far. The Iota Rho Sigma chapter, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, out of Greenville, Mississippi. Every year, um, we get together and we cook like pans and pans and pans and pans and pans of food, and we pass it out for Thanksgiving. Um, that one hit deep for me because I have an expectation that every Thanksgiving I'm getting a plate with my dressing and greens and wings and habanero chicken or whatever my grandmother makes. That's my expectation. Um, and I sometimes forget that there are people out here who are hours away from home, can't get home. There are people who are homeless. A home cooked meal is just not an option for them. And so being able to be in that space for a whole day and feed people and give people that experience that I get to have, it does something to me.
Mhm. So when we chatted, I told you we do Black History 365.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked you who were the most influential people in your life, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned it was your mother, your
Mm-hmm.
friend Cabrillo,
Mm-hmm.
and Dr. Parrott.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you tell us how has your mother shaped your understanding of strength and leadership?
I'll give you what I remember of my mother being a kid. I never saw my mother sleep until I was grown. And I'm not exaggerating. Never ever saw her sleep. We would get up at 5 a.m. She would drive a bus route. She would go teach. Then she would coach basketball. And then she would go home, be a parent, do homework, and do drill once a month. She did that for the longest time. Um, and when I became an adult, I asked her, I said, when did you sleep? Because I never saw you sleep. When I would go to sleep, she would be doing homework. When I got up, she was already up and ready for work. When were you asleep?
Mhm.
Um, she napped. She took extensive naps. I could not imagine. And she did all of those things so I could get a good night's rest. So that when I got older, I've never really wanted or needed for anything. If I told my mom I wanted or needed it, it got done. Now, one thing she did do though, she taught me how to work for what I wanted. Um, I'm very spoiled, but my spoilment had conditions. If I came in them grades and looking right, I wouldn't get nothing. If that attitude was wrong, you can hang it up. I had the type of mama that would unscrew the door off the hinges. She'll take the TV and put it in the storage for a year. Yes, she really did that. I didn't have a phone through the week. Couldn't watch TV through the week. I had a very, very strict mother. Um, but when I got older, I understood she was making a lot of sacrifices and she was doing a lot of things to teach me things on the back end. So I respect it. Um, 1000% I respect it.
So, what lessons did your friend Cabrillo teach you about loyalty and perseverance?
Um, One thing about me and Cabral, there is nobody in this world that could come in between us and say anything that would make me and him have a falling out. Ever, never, 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 ever, ever, ever. Um, if you call Cabral and say something about me, he gonna call and tell me. And if you call me and say something about Cabral, I'm gonna call and tell him. I don't even want you to think it's you don't have to ask. I called and told him 100%. Um, and I don't think he did it intentionally, but Cabral taught me the meaning of brotherhood before I came a Sigma, 100%. Um, and that word brotherhood is his number one principle. If you're a brother, there's a certain respect that we have for one another. Um, you'll never catch me in a space disrespecting you, putting you down, anything. Whatever issues we got, we handle that in house. So he definitely taught me the loyalty piece for sure.
What did Dr. Parrott influence your academic and professional journey? How did she?
She taught me that no was a complete sentence. That's what she taught
Yeah.
me. She sure did. She taught me that I did not have to take on every single project that was presented to me. I don't have to carry every single burden that people bring to me. Sometimes it's okay to look at somebody and say, I do hate that's happening, but I don't have that to give right now. It's okay for me to take a mental health day. It's okay for me to take three of them if I need them. It's okay for me to um, take a trip and turn my phone off if I want to. She's definitely teaching me all those, actively teaching me those things. So I'm very, very grateful for her.
So, what does Nina Simone represent to you as an artist and activist?
My dear, dear Nina, listen,
Um,
she is gonna sit with me every single day. Um, the number one thing that I got from this woman was that if you are afraid to say what or how you feel, and if you are too scared to stand up for it, you're a disgrace to everybody that came before you.
yep.
Um, she was never afraid to say. I actually was just teaching the Viking Voice leaders about her yesterday because I put the picture up and they were like, "Who is that?" I had been talking 20 minutes before I realized it, and I'm like, "This is the woman who." She's the reason why people can stand up in a room and talk about civil rights and cuss and nobody be upset. She's the reason. She's the reason why people have all these songs about activism and all these things. Um, and they're saying what they want to say. She's the person who started it. That's what that woman is. And so that's how I move in my life.
So, how do these four individuals collectively shape your purpose?
Um, I think my purpose in life is to always show people that there is something better. Anytime that somebody's really, really close to me, I kind of hear some of the same things consistently. They say that my faith is really strong, and they say that I never settle for bare minimum. I don't settle for this is what you're gonna give me, so okay. Nope, absolutely not. Because my faith is strong, I know that there's something better. Um, and I think all four of those people are direct reflections of that, including Nina Simone. Yes, she was crazy. Yes, she would lash out. Yes, she had a lot of things going on. I think most of all, though, she was misunderstood. But her faith never changed.
Well, I tell you, she was a strong black woman that represented. And, from what I understand about her, I loved everything about her. Forget all of that. Be unapologetic and keep it real.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to take a moment to talk about one of these comments. So, earlier we were talking about how, you have these people who are your aunties, but they're not blood related, yada, yada, yada. This Ebony Thomas, you're doing a great job. We're proud
Oh,
of you.
oh,
Love,
I was just
Mrs. Wright and I were tuned in. So my mother is watching this. Hello, mother. Um, and two of the people that she hangs with, those are her homegirls. So my aunties, hey y'all, how you doing? I love y'all too.
so let's talk about your legacy, your purpose, and your future.
Okay.
Can you tell us what do you hope students remember about your leadership?
Um, that there's no time limit on success. There's none at all. Um, there's no need to be afraid. I am 14, 15 hours away from the place that I call home. And people are always like, you're not scared to do that? Scared of what? There's nothing to be scared of. If you want it, you got to go get it. You got to get up. You got to work for it. You got to figure it out. Um, and that's what I've done for almost a year now. I've been figuring it out. And so I always tell the students that I oversee, I'm like, listen, one of my first questions to them when I meet them is, what do you want to do? What is in your head, what does your life look like? Okay, now what are you gonna do to make it look like that? And so I always want them to be like, hey, I remember Coleman. He moved until he got it right. He kept going until he got it right, and that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna just keep going and keep going until I get it exactly how I want it to be.
Well, I want you to know that I think you're on a good path, and I'm really proud of you. I just
Thank
hope
you.
that you continue what you're doing because it's only going to be for the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What legacy do you want to leave in higher education?
Um, I want people to think about me the way that we think about Nina Simone in higher ed. Um, when I walk in a room, I want people to know that one right there, he ain't gonna never be afraid to say what it is and what it ain't. He gonna tell you just like it is, he gonna tell you just like it ain't. Um, but I also want everybody to understand that the greater good is always my objective. My objective is always gonna be student success every time, every single time. I told my mom this the other day. I said, I'm okay with pissing grown people off if it benefits the students. I'm okay with everybody being mad at me as long as the students are happy, um, and it helps them get to their next stage of life. 100% okay with that. And I feel like that's what Nina Simone did. She pissed everybody off, but all the black people were happy. So I'm good. So I'm good.
Final question.
Hmm.
When you think about your future,
Hmm.
what impact do you hope to make on the world?
Um, on the world.
Hmm? You know, you got a big personality.
I do. I do. That's why I'm like, Jesus Christ. Um, you know, it's really hard to answer that because there's so many layers to my life. Um, you got the professional side of me, and then you got the side of me that my friends get when we go out. You got the side of me that's like, real Southern church boy. Um, you know what? I want people to know that you can live a balanced life and still go to heaven. That's what I want. That's what I want people to know. You can do all the things in the world that you want to do, um, as long as you know whose you are and what you are, what purpose you're walking in. Never veer off of that. There's no way you can fail. I tell people all the time, there's no way I can fail. It's impossible. There's no way possible I can fail. Um, there was some type of redirection that needed to happen, and I feel like the Lord knows His child. He knows me. If you put me in something, and I feel like I'm supposed to see it through, I'm going to. Sometimes He has to redirect my path for me because I won't do it. Um, I want you to know you can live a balanced life. Because if you look me up on Facebook and you look me up on Instagram, them two totally different people. But they both public profiles, so you can see them. But they two different people. And then you look me up on LinkedIn, that's a whole nother third person. But all of them, all of three of them people belong to the Lord. So I want everybody to know that.
So, in closing, what are some words of wisdom and encouragement you'd like to leave for our audience? Tell them how they can connect with you via social media
Mhm.
and any other great information you'd like to give them, especially about your school.
Um, if you have any students who are graduating high school or that you know that are graduating high school, um, my advice is to send them to a HBCU, preferably Mississippi Valley State or Elizabeth City State University, but any HBCU is a win-win for me. If you want to connect with me outside of this, I say this all the time to my kids, find it so funny. I don't ever want anybody to say you couldn't find me. My name is my name on everything. My name on Facebook is Michael Coleman Jr. My name on Instagram is Michael T. Coleman Jr. My name on LinkedIn is Michael Coleman Jr. MA. So you put in Michael Coleman Jr., you will find me. Um, if I could leave anything with anybody, mm, okay, this is gonna be a little shady, but I'm gonna say it.
Okay. Okay.
Um, the Lord can't bless your house if you want somebody else's porch. All right, you got to remember that. You got to go get on your porch.
Well, Okay. Again, that's I I appreciate that, and I'm more than
Mhm.
sure that that for those that can understand, that I'm sure that they understand that message. That's a great
Absolutely.
message.
Absolutely.
Um, Before I close,
Hmm.
after I close the show, do you have a few minutes after the show, please?
Absolutely. It's fine.
So I want to thank each and every individual that has watched the show today. I want to thank you, especially on Juneteenth. This
Hmm.
is a very special day,
It
and we
is.
have a very special guest. And I want to thank you guys for being here with us and lending us your time, because the work that Michael does is very important, and especially as he's mentioning HBCUs, I second that message 5,000%.
Hmm.
5,000%, because I think the value is what it needs to be for kids that look like us
Absolutely.
to be in the right place, in the right space, at
Absolutely.
the right time. So, for those of you that are watching, especially on our YouTube channels, if you have not
One more
yet,
thing.
yes, sir.
I want to show this shirt. I wear it all the time. Central Park Five. Wore it for Juneteenth. If you don't know who the Central Park Five are, go watch when they see us on Netflix. It's really, really good. Shout out to Yusuf Salam. He's my frat brother. I actually met him last year. He's a great guy. Happy Juneteenth, everybody.
So, for those of you that are watching on our YouTube channel, so if you have not yet subscribed and enabled all notifications, I'm asking if you would please support us by subscribing and enabling all notifications. Therefore, you'll be able to catch each and every show that we go live,
Hmm.
as well as you're able to go back and watch each and every show of all of our great guests. That's left plenty good information about building communities and unity.
Hmm.
So, in closing, let me do this closing monologue. Michael, your journey is a testament to what happens when passion meets purpose. You have built a career rooted in service, strategy, and student empowerment, and your work continues to shape the lives of young people across the country. Your story reminds us that leadership is not about position, it is about impact, it is about showing up, lifting others, and creating spaces where students can thrive. On behalf of America in Black and White, thank you for your commitment to education, your dedication to community, and your unwavering belief in the power of the HBCU experience. Your story is still unfolding, and the world is better because of the work you do.
Thank you.
Thank you all. You all have a great evening. And please come and check us out tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another episode and for the series finale of Left, Right, Black, and the fight for representation. Episode 4 is tomorrow on Changing Trends and Times at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all. Please have a great evening.